1. Anyone who wants the 420 harmony, there you go. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to a second look. We are so excited to have you here, and thank you. My guest and co-host is, well, actually your co-host, not a guest anymore, is Miss Trina. How are you doing, my dear?
I am doing so good. And how about yourself?
I am doing well, thank you. It is a wonderful day. Let me just invoke favor on everyone who is joining us. We welcome you. Hello, free thinkers. This is an enclave of thought and free thought. And welcome. Thank you, moderators, by the way, and thank you for attending. What's happening?
I can't wait to get into this topic. I think it's going to be excellent. Brain candy.
So, you showed me your quantum sigil, the what is that, pendant?
Yeah.
I had to go out and get one myself. It's powerful.
Wayne, that was the weirdest thing, because I ordered that pendant and I just saw it said angel frequency pendant. So I ordered it and it had that sigil on the back of it. And I couldn't believe it, but I actually found it. And
did you? Right.
I knew I had seen it before, and I was like, where have I seen this before? Oh my gosh! And I was kept looking and looking and looking, and it came to me, and I found it, and it was in this book.
All right, let's get this into the full screen. Wow, the return of the dove. Yes, yes. Wow. All right. So tell us the significance.
It's a grid over the entire United States. An energetic grid. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Curious.
This is actually, it's called the Book of Knowledge. It's the Keys of Enoch, and this is on the front.
Spectacular. Well, I love it. Love it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it is crazy. So yeah, it talks about celestial lords of light gather and cultivate the seed crystals of evolution left to the original Adamic guardians. They will come within the formation of a magnificent dove. Whose head of crystal knowledge will be over the Yucatan Peninsula, and whose wings shall sweep across the danger zones of the eastern and western flank of North America, whose feet will land within the pyramid area of the Bermuda Triangle. So yeah, this is profound stuff, but I knew I had seen that symbol.
Because the Yucatan Peninsula is where we know an asteroid actually hit. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it says in the ocean near Mazatlan, in whose body will gather the pearls.
Yeah.
Communities of righteousness into the heartland of the ancient days.
I wonder if electrical beings could actually ride in on what we would see as a comet or an asteroid, and actually it's a crafted vessel. Who knows? That is far out, girl.
It says that they will deliver their seed and the seed of other nations who wish to be coded into the galactic tree of living light. In the paradise mansion worlds of the Father, those who've accepted the Christ seed, the Buddha seed, or any of the lords of light will have within them the active channels of light which allow them to function as the Adamic race. Upon other planetary worlds and in other universes, the world that they will inherit will depend upon the maturity of their soul and the way they have allowed the light to function within them as service to their fellow creation.
That's profound.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just saying that is freaking profound.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, the synchronicities that are happening, I'm like, this is blowing my mind.
Yeah, and I got this, it came on Sunday, and wow, then the cleansing and the energy from this thing is, it's It's tangible,
Yeah.
but it's very much, I got a sense it's, I don't know, maybe it's the wrong word, but I would say kind of activation. Would that make sense? I don't know.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yes.
Well, far out. What a
Yes,
way
that
to
would make a
open this
lot of
thing
sense.
up, man. I'm telling you what, we cover some ground here. Just want to
Yeah.
invoke favor on everyone while everyone is here. We just say nothing missing, nothing broken being found in your life. And before we get started, we have people in our community, and I want to make sure that I can pull this up. So give me a second, Trina, as I go over here. Let me see. Can I do that? I'm driving at the same time I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here we go. This young woman is Susan. Delightful singer. She has a song called Sophia Rising that you really should check it out. But the reason why I'm bringing up Susan today is you can see her YouTube channel is the Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. Her husband, Randy, they're just a delightful couple. They're just the salt of the earth, down to earth, good country people. And, well, recently, Randy has been diagnosed with cancer. And it's really impacted Susan. And she talks about it here the last day of hot dog vending. Folks, let's just send them our love, send them our healing energy. They need it. They're facing, and listen, we
You
have
know,
lost.
you know
Go ahead.
what? Something we could all do together with that kind of a focus. Okay, everybody knows that cancer doesn't like oxygen, right?
Yes, yes.
We can all send the breath of life into every cell of her body. Flood
In
it with
his
oxygen.
body. Yeah.
Yes, in his body. Flood every cell with oxygen.
Mm,
Everyone. Just focus on that and send it, send it, send it.
mm.
Mhm.
We'll just give a minute here because, folks, my, you know, I don't show a lot of emotions, but, you know, when you're married and you have a partner that has been with you, the departure is even more impacted. And
Yeah,
I'm not speaking departure in Randy's life. We're going to speak long life
yes.
into Randy.
We're
And
going to speak a miracle.
yes, 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 yes. Susan, go ahead. Go ahead.
I said, just like that. Let's just send it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just done.
And I think that's how
Thank
we're
you.
doing it. So we just send Randy and Susan just love, favor, and encouragement. We're standing strong with you, and you are not alone. So there you go.
Yes.
Get me choked up.
I know, seriously, the emotions. That's what I think
Yeah.
that's how you know you're a healer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
really you can feel energy in motion and you literally
Mhm.
can feel it. And I
Oh,
think that's why
yeah.
we're sensitive to these symbols and all of these things in our world because we are so powerful in how we process information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as healers, and we're empathic already, and it's the energy is tangible.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's that's what we do here. We love people, we speak favor to them, and
Mhm.
healing. So if someone says, "What's the shirt?" The shirt says, "Be nice,"
Yeah.
using the periodic table. So table, the
Yeah.
tibble.
Table, table. Speaking of
There.
words and
What is it?
backwards.
The Star Trek of the thing of tribbles. There we go.
Yep. It's so funny too, just like showing words flipping around as the topic
Yeah.
is today. Backwards.
Woo, boy, I'll tell you what, we have hit on a chord. So let's get right into it. Trina and I were a little late because I was showing her the PowerPoint presentation I put together, and then we get discussing it, and we said, "Oh yeah, well wait a minute. There's about 160 of our best friends out there. We ought to invite them in."
Yes.
That's what we say. So last week, Miss Trina, you and we got into one document we shared about how this is an inverted world. We come in inverted, everything, and the synchronicities are flowing.
Yeah.
You had said to me when I showed you the title of that, you went, "Oh my MOG."
Right.
Yeah. So you've
I
been
was like,
discussing
oh my,
backwards.
that's been in my consciousness. And I've been discussing this with other people for the past few days. The whole words, we need to look at the backwards of words because everything is backwards. Every single thing. It's unbelievable.
Magic.
Yes, it is straight up.
Yeah, I mean the magic that I've been reading, it's an inverted magic. I mean,
Yes.
it's mind quote. It's of the ultimate type.
Well, you know what I think is because when you look at the reversal, you're probably looking at the truth because the truth would be reflected backwards. So if you look at the backwards, you might be seeing the truth.
And isn't that what we see in the mirror?
Yes.
It's an inverted image of ourself.
Yes.
Whoa.
That's
Okay.
what I mean. Everything is backwards. This is a house of mirrors, and we see everything backwards through the lens of our eye. It's unbelievable.
It is absolutely. And when folks, we didn't talk about this part, but now that you're talking, the fact that our vision is in fact an inverted flip of what reality actually, holy shit.
Yes,
I mean, exactly, folks. I mean, think about this. No matter where the freak you are, you can't escape it, folks. It's an inverted. We are seeing a backwards inverted reality that we think is right side up.
Yes.
Well,
it's such a conundrum.
Dancers over here just going, what? Yeah, y'all got it. So here is the point of discussion and contemplation this day. How could a newborn infant still in its mother's womb be corrupted before it takes its first breath? How can a newborn infant lie, steal, covet anything, harm, or kill another being, deceive another, want to be rich, is cruel, desires sex, or has any of the density of this world other than the newness of a physical body? What say you, Trina?
It can't. It's perfect, and all it can do is be 100% at the mercy of the environment that it has just been thrown into.
Thrown is a very appropriate word because
absolutely
religion won't answer this. Philosophy won't answer this. I have not seen any theology or of any other type that comes in and says, but wait a minute, how can a newborn, the spirit of this in any way be corrupted? So I go on, because the reality is just what we just came to. It's an inverted reality.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yep.
So it does appear that almost from the beginning, man has had it wrong about his beginnings, his purpose, his inner understanding of his nature, and his death. And here's the thing, Trina, we're taught corruption.
Oh, yeah.
How could it be for an infant to know it instinctively? I don't agree with that.
Oh, no, they're open slates and they're 100% just getting programmed by the environment.
Yes. Yes.
They're pure. They're open. Their computer has no programs. Only spirit. Only spirit and soul.
Only spirit, yes. Yeah, and soul.
And then these programs, like I see like doors getting slammed inside the mind. As you start adopting the programs of this world, it shuts you down from what was real. And it was like intended to do so.
That's profound. Hold that thought because this gets into it deeper. Here's something I did not realize, and when it literally shocked me when it hit my consciousness. We're taught corruption. We are taught how to engage the five physical senses, and it is these senses that thus stimulate what man calls sin, or the vices of the flesh, an animalistic behavior that exists in the other realm of the animal kingdom that operates strictly on the five senses. This can only mean we purposely take on corruption. The question becomes why? Why do we do this, Trina?
I don't think that, there's a part of me that says that this was a mission. And then there's another part of me that says that we were somehow brought captive.
Mm.
So either way, when I look at it, we're kind of in a little conundrum here. But I know that creation, you no matter what path you take, I've always seen it doesn't matter. You're always going to end up returning back to source somehow, some way. It doesn't matter. You're always going to get out somehow, some way. But I think the ones that can get out consciously by understanding how to navigate death, we're going to be somewhere way ahead of the situation.
Interesting. I like that. I like that because as we have here, we come into this dense realm without fault, guile, or have any deception within us. I mean, to say otherwise is to say that we are of another nature of being that is foreign to the nature of incorruption. And then why do we seek to change what we are? Not, this would be a violation of the divine law.
Yes. Wayne, when I would see myself when I was a little kid up with the Lord, in that place, we are perfect.
Yes, I've heard that before. Others.
Yeah. There is none of these natures in us. They're not in us. That's why I say I wonder if this is a beast system, because being mingled with the animalistic traits of nature gives us these abilities.
Without the five senses,
correct,
we couldn't exist in this reality.
No way, we'd be dead.
Yeah. But the animal kingdom has adapted. In fact, there was the series on the Discovery Channel called Serengeti. Very well filmed, very well edited. And it clearly demonstrated that the animal kingdom operates strictly on the five senses, and that they have perfected it in each one of the species.
Yes.
So for them to reach where we humans say is this perfection, the animal kingdom would say, well, we're already there.
Mm-hmm.
This gets deep, and it puts a hole in many of the ideologies that we have today, that we're somehow corrupted, and we're having to seek perfection. I don't understand that, because to think that it would change or alter what was created to be as, and that to change that would to go against the forces of nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you see how nature is in full cooperation?
Mm-hmm.
Humanity is not.
Thank you. We are
with
not.
That, yeah, we've evolved into a selfish breed. It's all become about the ego. The ego is your primal nature to keep you alive, but it is not supposed to be the dominant force operating your brain.
And it's when you speak of ego, it's amazing how well ego is demonstrated in the animal kingdom.
Absolutely. It utilizes its ego when it's necessary. But other than that, everybody's in cooperation and going with the flow.
Then it comes down to this. This is an inverted reality. Everything in this plane of existence is the exact opposite of the reality we came from, and what we perceive as being the way things are in this world is wrong. I brought up this point, Trina. How do we know that this is Earth? Who taught?
I don't think that we do.
I don't think we do either. Thank you.
No, and I was shown three different visions of how this is not what we think. And the first one that they showed me was like the Russian dolls, you know, the doll
Oh,
inside the doll
yes.
inside the
Yes.
doll.
Yes.
And then they showed me that the earth is a spaceship. And then they showed me a spaceship inside of a spaceship inside of a spaceship inside of a spaceship. Yeah.
Oh, that's how should we say? That's deep.
Yeah, and then I also saw like the Earth, and then I saw the Earth could fractal out to like 144 Earths just from the set base 12 from the one. So
That
I saw
is
it that way too.
amazing.
So I'm like, whoa, I
I love this.
don't know. I'm
So
like, what is really going on here? Yeah,
it's like the emperor's new clothes. You know, everyone in the crowd knows he's naked, but when you get together, you have this mass hypnosis that says, well, sure, he's got a great set of clothes on.
yep.
I love this aspect. I hadn't thought about this. We're going to get into something later on this whole aspect. How do we know this is Earth? We
Yeah.
say it is, thus it becomes so. So the conclusion comes down to this, Miss Trina. The only conclusion can be is that we do this on purpose and regularly, or we were created flawed, incomplete, broken, damaged from the very beginning, and to change our nature would be sin.
See, I see it as like we're perfect programs. Like we come in with these perfect, clean bodies, but they do also carry all the experiences of the past.
Yeah.
So you're when you come into the physical body, you're automatically going to be receiving the ancestral like karma, trauma, experience, love, all of it. It's going to be in the codes. It's part of coming into the flesh. You come into the matrix of the code of the soul of that realm. And I see it as a realm because there's other realms and they're sitting above us and
They
below
are.
us and they're all around us. And I can see that. And it's like, this is a specific realm.
The question I ask myself is, what does the spirit realm have? There has to be additional senses or senses that are not of the five physical nature ones here.
Yeah, I think that there's at least 13.
That's heavy. That really is. That, I mean, that could almost go in the line that the brain is, we know our brain right now is existing in 11 different dimensions as
Yeah,
we
but
speak.
there's always the masculine, feminine,
So
upper and lower ruling aspects, and then
that would
the
be
13th
13.
is the unity of all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is interesting because you think about this, that there are senses. You see, when I was into Christianity, and particularly in deliverance ministry, where we would cast out demons,
Mhm.
we were taught that the reason why a demon possessed person acts very freakish, unable to control bodily functions and the five senses, is that these entities are coming into this reality. And unlike us, where we've taken years to adapt to the five senses, they're hit with it all of a sudden, and it
Yeah.
literally freaks them out.
Yeah. And some of these entities too, they're just twisted, demented, dark entities that like pain and like these things. So, you got all aspects. You're dealing with an entity just like we are as human beings. But you're right, they're going into the flesh and it rocks them.
This
It
is,
rocks.
this is just because when we get right back to this whole thing about a baby, an infant,
Yeah.
I'm going to do a whole show on the fact that we all were at one time absolute geniuses. When a newborn is born, and I checked this out, a newborn is using 800,000 what they call neuron synaptic firings.
Mm-hmm.
massive learning. They're geniuses.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Unbelievable to see the lighting up of their cerebral cortex when they're looking at a coloring book. I mean, it's mind blowing. And that's what I'm telling you. Those are those hidden abilities. You have them born into you when you're a baby. And you shut them down. I see these doors getting shut in the mind. Bam, bam. And as you progress and you start taking on the matrix, the world around you, you're losing connection to that inner firing of your own mind.
Trina, we're taking on density.
Yeah.
I had never in my 6 decades, the thought had not hit me that as we age, the one thing that becomes very evident, and maybe it's a faster accumulation in other individuals, but we take on this density, and this density then seems to separate us. Yeah.
Think about it. Magnetics, what they have a very powerful effect on the mind.
True.
That's why the astronauts, when they're getting out in space for a while, they're going cuckoo loco because it's affecting their brains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because one thing we know in space, there's neither up nor down.
Yeah, there's no magnetic field.
Yeah, it's like, where are we dancing, folks? I don't know.
I'm telling you. So yeah, the magnetics of this planet, I wonder if that's part of the process of shutting down our abilities, our natural abilities. It's the frequency and the magnetics of the actual planet that we're sitting on.
It has to be, because I read, when I mentioned this on Sunday's show with Jeffrey Doherty, that mothers were writing and saying, I can communicate. I talked psychically to my child when my child was in my womb, when I was carrying it, and after my child was born. That tells me then something of even a deeper profoundness is taking place to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I communicated with my babies in the womb too. Yeah.
And
one of them showed up on a white unicorn in a big field of like wheat. And we were walking and I couldn't see her face. They would not let me see her face. That's because she was up on the unicorn, and I could not see her face. But she was instructing me and she was telling me about how important the balance of earth was. And she was talking about seeds and light and air and all the elements and how things worked. I mean, literally, I was receiving master instruction from my child who was in my womb.
No, I believe that. I believe that. I believe that masters do come back through, because the question I will ponder, and I'm going to contemplate this, is the question why. There has to be a reason why. And here's my conundrum, Trina. If perfection is the goal, how can we be what we already are? I don't understand that.
I wonder, I don't think it's about like perfection, because in a planet of such diversity, how could perfection ever be defined?
True.
But I could see that it needs to come into balance to where you're connected to the physical, the beast, the nature, the primal aspects of a human, but you also need to be balanced in the spiritual connection to your other higher aspects of yourself and the true eternal you that will be still existing after you drop your body.
Mm-hmm. This lends a lot of credence to the fact of, and I'll say this, that we're almost individual gods.
Yeah.
I mean, why? To me, only divinity would take on a challenge that would be completely counterintuitive to their nature.
Yeah, to understand everything.
Yes.
I can see its function. It's to understand everything, and part of everything isn't going to be pretty, but it's like the ones who can get thrown into the densest of matter and still remember their internal spark and still remember what they are, even over such a heavy override with these bodies that have their own nature, their own existence, their own expressions. But you're more than the body. But the body becomes the dominant in this matrix because it was made of it.
Yes, and if we follow this thought, this cannot be the only existence that exists. But you think about this from maybe, I'm trying to put myself, by the way, I'm going to have Lisa Barnett on. I think it's the 28th. We're going to be talking about the Akashic record that all of us can have access to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's like, and we're going to be talking on the quantum.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
But, think about this, Trina, that an individual spirit looking at the enormity of the challenge of coming into this realm where it's an inverted reality.
Yeah. But when you're in spirit, you don't know what, I mean, you have a comprehension, but until you're in the body, you don't know what it feels like to be in matter. You don't remember what it feels like to be so dense. It's like telling a fish that it's breathing water. When you're in spirit, you're in spirit. You're in spirit. You're in spirit. You don't have the same. Most people are younger. There's no aches and pains. There's no illness. There's no disease. So yeah, it's a totally different vibration. And you don't realize how bad it hurts until you get into this matrix, and then you're like, oh, you start to feel the pressure of it, and you're like, oh my. Oh,
exactly. Let's say God, because that's about, it's amazing how most people, particularly women, in moments of ecstasy, it's always, oh my God. I mean,
yeah, it is. And that's in it's code. That's
yes,
a program. That's a program.
Is. Yeah, it is, but moving on along on that one, as you were talking, so inside, I'm seeing. Here's the thing. It seems like at the midpoint of life, which I'm saying, is typically the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the density seems to be at its peak. And I'll say this, those, and I said this before, I'll say it again. If you want to see your potential future, ladies and gentlemen, go visit a nursing home and observe the individuals. And this is what I've learned from my wife, Trina. And it's sad. It breaks my heart when I think about it, because so many people, by the time they get into their 70s, mid 70s and beyond, they become bigots, racist, they become perverts, they become angry. Folks, I'm talking about people in the 80s and 90s. And then you have this select class, and I'll call it a class, that are so cognitively aware still.
I wonder how that happens.
Yes, thank you. That would take the words right out of my mouth, please.
I wonder how that happens, because some don't have their mental capabilities, and some do. And it was the weirdest thing, because all of the women in my family, they never had memory issues or any of that, even the men. And my grandfather was the first one, and that was the first one who got dementia. And then my grandmother was 92 years old, and she was completely with it in her mind. And she got sick, and she went to the hospital and got put on a bunch of medications, and never been the same since. So, yeah.
See, my grandmother.
It has something to do with it, all the meds.
It does, and I absolutely agree with you. My grandmother lived to 99.6. She only had almost 6 months to go before she reached 100. But here was the thing. She still lived at home, cooked her own meals. She stopped driving at 96. Okay. But the thing that she did, and it was the same with the other lineage in her family line, she went in and she said to my uncle, she says, I'm going to take a nap. and it's time for me to go.
Yep.
She went in,
She
took a
died.
nap, and left. Yeah.
Let go. Yeah. And I think it is. I think that is. It's like, are you ready to give up the ghost? And the ghost is your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And she wasn't afraid of it. She told me
Yeah.
many times, she says, Wayne, she said, sometimes you can live too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that
I
was
believe
rather
that.
profound.
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is, I look at myself and I'm starting to see, I did that one video, and what is your future self? We all have a future self. I believe that, the way it looks, that maybe we are that last group going through. I don't know. Is that arrogant to say? Is that ego? I don't know.
I've seen potentials with that. From being way showers to being the last to being the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's up to us.
I think it is, and in so many ways, it's so true. As I lived in East Tennessee for a number of years and knew some people that were basically, um, they were hillbillies. I mean, they lived up in the hills of Tennessee, and most of them didn't come down off their hills.
That's right.
Um, and it always amazed me that I would see people that were well into their 80s,
Yeah.
still drinking whiskey,
Yeah.
still smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was, they all had a smile on their face.
Yeah, they're happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
know some of the poorest, simplest people, and they are some of the most down to earth, real, kind, generous, compassionate people I've ever met in my life. It's like the world didn't destroy them.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a
Their
sales
connection to
territory.
nature and being away from people all the time. They're in the rhythm of nature. They're in the rhythm
Yeah.
of life, and they live good to each other, and they're happy.
And they're different.
Yes.
From someone living in the city to someone who lives, I did a lot of traveling in Appalachia,
Hmm.
and I love those people. Their culture, their vernacularnism that they use, but they are definitely in tune to a different frequency than people I've met in the city.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
It's. I
mean,
think it's. I think it's the nature.
yeah.
I really do.
I went out with two guys ginseng hunting for ginseng,
Hmm.
and they could read every sign on these hills, these hills in East Tennessee and part of North Carolina, and they knew nature.
Yes. And I think that's what we've missed is we've lost so much of nature.
Trina, is that maybe the purpose? I mean, we just hit onto something. Think about how many billions of people are missing out on maybe the one reason why we should have been here to begin with, was to learn how to commune.
And not only that, to be one with one of the most wild, unpredictable, spontaneous, unpredictable places of the world. If you can stand steady in an environment like that, you're probably going to get a level of graduation from that.
Wow. You really are.
Of course, because to get brain wiped, thrown into a very dense, where the worst of the worst is available here and the best of the best. So you have a billion options that you can create. And that's the thing. You are creating. The thing is that we lost our ability to create because the programs got so hard that we lost our ability to remember that we create.
Mm.
So now they're using our creation power through the media, through the religions, through the indoctrinations to create the world around us. And we're in compliance because we agree with what we see.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm studying this book on the post comet impact, and I made this comment. Yeah, I haven't found, they haven't found a religion, but what they have found were shamans.
Yes.
They were connected to what we would interpret as an energy.
Yes.
And they all lived in the forest, the valleys.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Mm. Is it, well, now this presents a real issue because in modern life, it's virtually almost hard to get into nature.
Yes. That's being done on purpose.
It is. Thank you. And that's, we're making vast parts of nature, state, federal parks, state parks.
Yep. So nobody can go in.
That's exactly it. They're going to tell you who can go in and when you can go in. And while you're there, what you can and cannot do.
Absolutely.
I'll guarantee you can't walk around naked.
Nope.
You can't commune. You start communing with nature in a sense, they're going to have the park police out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow, Trina.
That's what I'm telling you. This is all being done. All the things that are natural to us, like being nude. We were born in this world nude. We're going to die probably nude. So, it's the way it goes. Yeah. It's like everything is being twisted, perverted.
Yes.
Everything is backwards. Everything is backwards.
That was the first thing you got in the Bible, was that nudity was to be ashamed of.
Yes.
And
the first thing they said was, how did you know you were naked?
Yes. How did you know that?
How did you know? How did you know you were naked?
I seen Queen of Courts, Lois was saying it's legal in Canada to go topless. It's legal in Colorado to go topless too.
Oh, right on.
But our society, unfortunately, has perverted that. The woman's body, virtually any part of her body, has been, unfortunately, turned into something other than the beauty for which it was created.
Yeah, sexual object or a toy of pleasure instead of the divine feminine.
This is really deep because, we started out on this coming in from the thought for discussion that we're perfect. When we pushed in, thrown in, however it is, we're pushed into ass backwards into this inverted reality. And from there,
all the programs.
Yes.
Yep.
It's the difference between, a child that's born whose parents live on a homestead.
Yeah.
To where a child whose parents live in an apartment off Fifth Avenue somewhere.
You know what's so funny though, Wayne? Like, I've been shown that we are so powerful, we cannot literally process it. If we come from perfection, our spirit, soul, that is above us, and it's still in its light body form, and it has not taken on the flesh. So within that light body, which is the true you, which is projecting you into the flesh, are all the original codes of perfection.
That would be representative of what we have found man in the Human Genome Project.
Yes.
All right, let's follow this through then, because I contend that consciousness is in every cell of our body. It's not in here, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere because it's not even coming from inside your mind. It's coming from your oversoul. It's coming from you. It's coming from your higher self.
I think the spiritists call it the paraspirit.
Yes. Yeah. It's your twin. It's your twin. Your twin. Your light body, causal body twin. Your identical twin. Yes.
And I'm processing this as you said. So, and here's the thing about perfection. Here's my problem with perfection. By defining the word perfection, it means absolute. You've
Yeah.
reached the top of what, there's nothing else beyond perfection.
Yeah, and you
That
can't
is
even get to
profound.
perfection while you're in flesh because you're in a corrupt system and a corrupt body that's only made to serve a function and then it drops. How could you ever get perfection in a physical realm of entropy and matter? No, not
How could
possible.
you get that in a spiritual realm? I'm just asking, I'm thinking out
You
loud
know,
here.
the way I can see that is because when you were created, I saw literally you were a thought from source itself, and it birthed you out with sound and color and frequency. And that was pure, raw potential, but individually vibrating. And in that vibration of all the vibrations that were sent forth, yours is perfect and whole in its vibration. But it is a part of the whole. It is not the whole. It is a part of it. So
Mm-hmm.
that is our perfection. It's the sound of our soul and our spirit.
I'm hearing a song, and then because the lyrics go, yeah, what is it? This is the sound of my soul. Yeah,
Yes,
yes. I think it was the song True, I believe.
that is a
Great.
beautiful song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And as you think about this, so if we get to the concept of perfection, because you see, I think with perfection means absolute peace. And if you have absolute peace, you have no vibration, no resistance.
Yeah. And that's what I see, like the breath of life. It's that
Yeah.
breath. And that's when the pendulum is swinging. And then when there are those moments where you get into that 0 point and the be still and know that I am is present and everything is still. That's
Hmm.
that's a that's a powerful place to be. But normally you can't stay in it for too long, even in spirit. So it's a profound gift to be in that window, because that is in the middle of the Torah field, and that is in the center of the core of it all, and that is where all powerful creation takes place.
It is said that I read somewhere that our greatest fear is to become bored.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I think it is true. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
amazed
yeah,
at the beauty and the complexity of our spirits.
yeah. That's why I think that we've created so many challenges and so many things to experience and experience for creation itself, because we're the adventurers, we're the warriors, we're the ones that have the resonance to go down into these dense levels and try to produce change.
And I'm sitting here going, all right, Steiger, so now define infinity again.
Right.
I'm going, I don't even know where to start. Well,
Yeah,
that's a
infinite, but
start.
you got to remember, always above the infinite is the eternal.
In
Infinite
the
is
infinite,
nothing.
eternal, and then where does infinity come beyond that?
Infinite, it has finite in it, so it's finite. I can see infinite as having a start and a stop, unbelievably, and I think it is because it is in the laws of time. When you get into the eternals, there's no time.
Well, Paul wrote that there is the eternity of eternity. So that implies in that mantra, that mindset.
So say, wait, a ship inside of a ship, it's a doll inside
Yeah,
of a doll.
yeah.
I'm like, oh
It's one of the things I was taught very early in life was about time, is that time is measured by epochs.
my gosh.
And epochs are very difficult to define because it's very hard to find their beginning, almost impossible to find their end.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about this, the challenge then um, takes on a whole different perspective where a person finds themselves in life.
Yeah.
This is liberating because if I begin to understand, I did not fear my birth, or at least that I remembered.
We knew it was going to be tough,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I don't think we realized how tough it was going to
uh,
be.
as my wife points out as a nurse, she says, now remember, a living person can't go through the birth process.
Yeah.
It'd kill you.
Yeah. It would kill you.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
pressure would absolutely. So it's remarkable. And I know we've talked about C-section babies, but those who go through the normal vaginal birth, that in itself is a miracle to think how the human body is being. Oh, wow. You think that's, it's a perfect analogy or metaphor for what we're about to become into here. Density compresses. And then we say in life, well, I am being oppressed or I am depressed.
Yep. So I'm telling you, the magnets, it starts crushing you from the moment you get into this construct. Yeah, that's how I felt.
Wow. Wow. This is deep stuff. I mean, folks, this is philosophy, not 101, 9999. And nine is my number. Wow, Trina,
Yeah.
this is profound when you think about the individual.
Hmm.
We lose that perspective.
Oh, totally.
I had someone write me and said, well, how do you balance the voice in your head to what you're having to deal with in life?
I've learned to follow the voice in my head because it's usually right.
That is so
My,
profound. Yeah.
my inner wisdom has always guided me better than anything in this world.
Some would say that that is natural intuition, but I say it's a perfected gifting.
It is both. It's a natural intuition, but the more you get using it, like I said, Wayne, I think when we're little kids, we're open to all of this stuff.
We are.
It's like it's just natural in your brain, and then these doors start shutting as you get older, and the programming and all this weight. It's weight, and it's like you feel it. Like you said, when you heal something, you feel it like lifts weight off you.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's what it feels like. So there's something to this. It's about the density. And I think this is about all the talk about raise your vibration, raise your vibration. Well, yeah, because it's like taking a car off your back, Yeah, because that's what it is. All of these charges weigh us down. But
You
when
know,
we were born as light as a feather.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. And every time you mention on the doors closing, I see a hallway that
Me too.
runs into infinity, that the doors are just,
Closing.
and then we spend the rest of eternity trying to open them.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I think that's part of our flesh construct, but I don't think it's part of the spiritual nature. Because once you're out of the human construct, I think that is completely wiped out upon arrival because that's here because it's not there. That's
No.
why when I came here, I could remember that realm, Wayne, and I knew I could fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was convinced I could fly.
I still dream I fly.
Me too, because we can there.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
natural. It's normal. It's natural.
Yeah.
But you know what? If we can there, I bet we can here.
There are those who say that can be done.
I bet it has to be as above, so below. Has to.
So in the song from Fleetwood Mac called Hypnotized, there's a great
You
lyric
bet.
in there. It says, there's a place down in Mexico where a man neither needs a plane nor wings, but can fly.
Absolutely.
And they've had many videos down in that area of humans flying.
Absolutely. Because if you get hypnotized, you're activating a program.
I think
And
that is so.
you couldn't do this unless it wasn't already in the template.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. I really do see this is the time where us as human beings are going to drop the monkey meat suit business and we're going to get back to what are we? And through that understanding, you will be going into trance and finding out what are your natural abilities because only some people can probably fly. It's like genes. Certain people are going to be flyers, certain people are going to be firewalkers, certain people are going to be spoon benders. I mean, it's like all of the attributes that are unique to you. Those are where you're going to be the most powerful. But we don't even remember these attributes. We don't remember any of these other senses that are completely natural to us. So,
Mm.
but I know that we can access them.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm deep in thought over here on the fact that now levitation.
Done
I
it.
believe that
Fun.
we can. Yeah,
I've done it.
we back in the day when I lived in a commune, you know, we actually were able to levitate in a circle. Now,
Yeah.
granted, we were under the influence of mescaline, but
Huh?
we looked at it as a sacred element to get us into that place of the spirit. Yeah. And
That's what it takes, Wayne. You got to get into a certain frequency.
yeah, you
And,
do.
and like you said, you were getting into a certain, that's all it takes. You get into that frequency, and levitating people is just like super easy.
And I keep on hearing, we read and everyone is well versed with it that, Jesus walked on water.
Uh-huh.
Well, that is metaphorical for the fact that you can do anything you want. The mind can overcome anything.
And walking on water, I think that that's about that stillness that we're talking about, that 0 point. Because to walk
Mhm.
on water means that you can calm the storms, and
Mm.
you can make that emotion become your strongest pillar.
That was something I had forgotten for decades. It's only when you find that stillness.
Yes.
Many people write books on it.
Yep.
Initiation into Hermetics, and Franz, he wrote extensively, and Agrippa and all the other great philosophers of the Renaissance period. But
And I tell you, Wayne, man, it's hard to get to still point on your own. It's so much easier if you're working with other people.
we've got to come together as a group, and
Yeah, because
um,
the power of us together holding an intention moves mountains.
yeah, yeah,
You've seen it with faith healing.
I have seen it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know.
I've seen bones grow out literally 2-3 inches. You know, yeah, and it
That's
wasn't because of.
powerful business right there, Wayne.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Um,
Yeah,
Listen, there are things that we don't talk about here because
I know.
some things we're still getting there.
Yeah.
But you're right. These are why I know these things work, and it seems like we're being countered on so many moves. That's my biggest concern about technology. It's stealing from us our ability to create within ourselves and as groups.
Yeah, because they stole our internal vision and created the television.
Yes,
They
they did.
stole our natural ability for telepathic communication and invented the radio. They've taken our natural ability and connection to the consciousness and the collective whole, and they've created the internet.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. It's a net. And
Yes,
I talk about it all the time on the Steiger perspective, and will continue. The net, regrettably, is starting to close in.
I think so.
Yeah. This is the time, Trina. We have got to begin to focus in on this. And I love the fact of it's, yeah, the individual has to be there, but in a group learning, people learn much better.
Because we learn from each other. And literally, the ones who are receiving information that can receive even powerfully, they'll be receiving information that others couldn't actually perceive at that time. It is such a fuller experience.
And I absolutely applaud Karen with the Queen of Quartz, what she is doing in the Crystal Network. We're all going to
Yes,
get into that.
yes.
Al keeps saying, well, we ought to do this. It's true. It's getting to the desire to do it. I'm not the desire. It's the pulling it together. It's a lot of work sometimes.
The
Thank
manifesting part of
you.
it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're already building it. I can see it. It's already being started.
I absolutely believe that everyone that's in here that's listening to this and who participates daily in the chat rooms, you're a part of this. We've come together, and we've got to begin to congeal what we have brought together.
Yes.
All right. Where did the hour go?
Wayne, it's always so much fun. It's like poof.
man, I mean, seriously, where did it go?
I know.
I just looked at, I mean, I
I
59
heard the
minutes.
clock. I was like, oh, oh.
Ay, ay, ay. Well, um, all right. So we're going to wrap it up, folks. But first of all, Al and David will be on. Big Al, he likes to be called, on Friday. Check out David's channel over there. David Barry 75. He's gotten some really good videos in the Book of Life.
Yes. Great work, David.
It is. It's
It is.
exceptional.
It's beautiful. The messages are beautiful and it's beautiful.
I am so pleased to see David really come into his own. There's many people here that are coming on. I think of Brian over at Milky Way Messenger, when he first started out. And, it's a wonderful example of what happens when we find ourselves.
It is. We're all growing. We're growing
We
as a
are.
family and as a community. And
Yeah,
we're finding our flows and our rhythms, and it's beautiful.
it is very beautiful. And
Yeah.
Trina, you're a beautiful soul, a powerful, powerful presence. And I'm glad that we came together and
Yeah.
can spend an hour each week.
Me too. It's one of my favorite parts of my week.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it really is a lot of fun. It is.
It is. It's like the energy from the community. It's like, oh, I feel all of you guys, and it's so wonderful. And then talking with you, and we're bouncing concepts off each other, and that opens our minds.
It does. And there have been a lot of minds opened up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not going to stop. We got a lot more opening to do because there's things that I know that we can do that we haven't even thought of yet. But we're going to dream the dream and we're going to do it.
That's how we open those doors.
Yes.
It
And
is.
they're natural doors. They're already there.
Maybe we're the ones who closed them. I don't know.
I think our genetic construct did it.
Mm,
The modification of the genetic construct
yeah.
of the Adamic race.
This is deep.
Yeah, through cloning, I think.
I think that there's a lot of truth that we'll talk about that maybe next week.
Okay.
Do you want to say anything before we leave?
Oh, just manifest well. You guys stay in a high vibration as much as you can, because that's the best thing that you can do for your own being and your own well-being. And trust all the things that you're receiving, because I'm sure all of you are learning new frequencies and getting new information. So trust what you're getting and you'll get more.
I love that.
Yeah.
We are indeed favored here, folks. Favor. By the way, I just want to put this out to anyone out there. I need a graphic artist who can do some expanded graphics so we can start putting these on hoodies and T-shirts. It can be a way that we can begin to identify each other as we're out there.
Absolutely.
Okay, folks, thank you. We'll see y'all next week. I'll be on tomorrow. Check it out. Miss Trina, are you going to be on someone's channel soon?
I think I got Milky Way Weekly, I think Thursday night, and
Okay.
potentially Saturday night. I think Ryan SK is going to come on with me, with Brian on then. So yeah, it'll be
Excellent.
Awesome.
All right, folks, check it out. All right, Trina, stay with me. Folks, thank you. Thank you. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.